identity service engine. You have ever worked on ISE before?
Get in touch with it for a little bit, not that much.
Okay. So this is basically, if I talk about with respect to your CCIE exam, then this has a major chunk. How? Right now, simple word I would say, your AAA server belongs to a technology called as, your ISE belongs to a technology called as AAA. Okay. So AAA, generally there are many servers, AAA servers. AAA, that means authentication. AAA stands for your authentication, your authorization, and your accounting. Okay. More basic example, there are so many users which comes in your company, okay, as a guest user, or there are so many temporary employees or the new joinees who are joining to the company. So basically, as a network engineer, what your job role will be, that you gonna provide them the authentication. So whenever they are trying to connect for the company network, where are the credentials created? Are the credentials created within the ISE itself? Are the credentials created in any other third-party domain controller like your Active Directory? Either the credentials are being created on any other LDAP server, where the credentials are being created. For that credentials, on basis of those, an authentication will be performed. Once authentication is being performed, after that, what are the different privileges which you are getting? What are the different privileges which you are getting after the authentication? That will come into the picture. And then while doing the authentication and the authorization, whatever the other candidate is trying to use to generate the logs, accounting can be done from the ISE. So that's how it becomes your AAA. Authentication, authorization, accounting. Authentication start for who is the one who gonna log in, authorization, what he gonna do after the login, and accounting will generate the logs basically. Okay. So very important with respect to the production, with respect to the CCIE lab examination. Not even one single authentication will work if ISE is not there inside your CCIE lab. Or if your ISE got stuck, or if your ISE got, let's suppose, mad, or it got turned off, or anything happened to the ISE, not a single authentication will work. Not even single. Your whole lab will be incomplete. So this has a major chunk. The versions, there are different versions that we'll talk about it later in the hardware and the software versionings. Now, one of the highest selling product of Cisco, and a good product, I would say that. Okay. Most of the companies for the AAA, either they have the ISE, or either they have one more product is there in the market called as ClearPass by Aruba. This also has a good grab in the market. So there are two products for your AAA which a market accept, either ISE, either Aruba. Okay. Now let's come over here. So this is basically the logo of your ISE. What is an identity? So if I read a simple definition which is being given by your Oxford, so according to the Oxford Dictionary, an identity is serving to establish who the holder, owner, or wearer by bearing their name and often other details such as signature or photograph. Someone could walk up to you and say that, okay, his name is Malo, but how you would know that his identity is true? You would need some type of trusted evidence. You need certain evidence, such as the third party form of the identification. Let's suppose if I have a driving license, if I have a passport, if I have any of the national ID cards, or if I have a company identity card to verify my certain credentials. Similarly, in the networking world, identity, what is the meaning of identity? How a computer, how a user can prove or provide their identity. Either in terms of your username and the password, either in terms of your MAC addresses of any of the particular host device and host device. For a machine, see, so many types of machines are there, like remove the laptops, remove the desktop. Okay, whatever the iPad and these things I have it, let's suppose remove it. Bring on the old devices where you have the printers, you have the fax machines, you have the Xerox machines. All those kind of machine also needs authentication. In today's date, you will see that many of the devices are running via the Ethernet only, the smart devices. For that, not everywhere you are logging in or you are doing the authentication of the username and the password. For any of the, what could I say, fax machine or Xerox machine, the identity is being matched via MAC addresses. So there are different types of devices. Device can be anything. Device can be a MAC address based device. Device can be in your laptop or something where you're going to use the machine authentication. Machine authentication means your Windows operating system or your Mac OS, whenever you are logging in, it asking for your username and the password. It asking for your email ID and the password which you have given, or any of the ID passwords which are being used. Apart from that, you have the mobile phones. So many devices one single person have to perform the authentication. They have their mobile, they have their iPad, laptops, many things they have in one pocket. And when they are bringing it inside the company, so there has to be a AAA server which is capable of doing the authentication of all the devices, no matter from which device you are trying to connect to the network. Now, what is an identity store? Simple, sober, basic, fundamental meaning, no rocket science. Store means a place. Place to store or to save the identities. Now, these identities can be anything. It can be a username and the password. It can be a MAC address. A database that can be used to authenticate a user or an endpoint credentials. Any of the endpoint. Endpoint, I mean to say any of the supplicant. Any of the supplicant. Supplicant means any of the laptop, any of the fax machine, or any other device. That is called as your supplicant, the user device. It can be internal or external. Internal means that ISE itself, your AAA server, ISE itself, maintains a local database to store the credentials. Remember the day when we did the RAVPN, sir, remote access VPN. Inside ASGM, I added a new user called as Bob for the authentication inside my ASGM in the GUI. So where I was doing at that time the local authentication, that locally I am presenting a user for that, kindly give him the authentication. But that particular Bob authentication, and I can also select that you need to use any kind of external device. So for ASGM, that external device is termed as, it can be a ISE. That I'm giving that ISE will do the authentication. So for ASGM, your external device will be ISE. Similarly, in the same way, we have an internal database inside the ISE, and the name of that database is called as SAMDB. Always remember. SAMDB is the name of the database which is present inside the ISE to store the identities. Now, this is one thing. Similarly, the SAM database is concluded in a full manner. Like, it's not like I'm only going to save my username and the password. Okay. The same MAC addresses, if you are storing inside the ISE, that also will get stored inside the same SAM database, but the menu is different. Okay. Both username and the MAC address are not getting stored at one single place. It is just like you have seen the GUI of the ISE, right? You have at least seen the GUI of the ISE, correct?
Yes.
We have so many tabs in that: administration tab, work centers tab, profiling tab, posturing tab, this and that. So in one of the tab inside administration, you'll find a place where you can actually type your identities. Those identities belong to your username and the password. In another tab, there's a menu where you can add, it is called as context visibility endpoint, or also being termed as internal endpoint, where you actually store your MAC address. So there are two types of store which you will see whenever we'll go to the GUI of the ISE. One is your username and the password. Wherever you store the username and the password inside the ISE, that is called as your
SAMDB.
internal users. Okay. The database name is SAMDB. The feature inside ISE is called as internal users. And whenever you store the MAC addresses inside the ISE, you store it under internal endpoints. Always remember that.
So devices are stored under the endpoints. The users stored under the internal users.
Absolutely correct. Okay. And in the device endpoint, we generally make it where we store the MAC addresses. Okay. These are the two features based point. Now, each individual identity store is also referred to as an identity source. Each individual identity store also being referred to as identity source, that from where your identity is getting authenticated. Now it can be getting authenticated internal, where we used to say the SAM database. It can be authenticated externally. For externally, you have to do certain integration. The best example of the integration which I can take right now is your Active Directory. So if you have an Active Directory at the backend, you can integrate it with the ISE, and you can tell that you need to perform all the authentication of the Active Directory users. Whenever a user is coming for the authentication, go and check in the Active Directory database that if the user is present or not, or check in the LDAP server database whether the user is present or not. If the credentials are being found, if the credential got a match, give him a hit, give him the access. Otherwise, drop him. Don't provide any of the access. So you have the Active Directory, you have the LDAP servers over there. You can also do externally certificate-based authentication. If the certificate is being present and is being validated, then only authentication will happen. Apart from that, you have the feature of the smart cards. Right now, today in today's world, 2023, smart cards are being used as well. You can research on that for the authentication. TLS-based authentication is being done. There are multiple types of authentication. PEEP authentication, you will see that it works. PEEP is a protocol that will come in the near future. We'll talk about it. Now, you can combine multiple identity stores. What does that mean? There is my ISE. I have an external database, Active Directory, where the user Bob is present. Okay. Now, there is a possibility that your AD can be down, right? Or your Active Directory server can get corrupted. Correct? It is not a best practice that you keep your user only at one place. Remember that. It's not a best practice as per the production. You create the users and their endpoints at different places, so that if even one get fails, if your Active Directory is not coming up, or your integration is not working properly, or anything goes up, at least if he is failing from that source, I have one more source added. Let's suppose I have added my SAM database, where I have defined the same user again called as Bob. And third, let's suppose I have a LDAP server as well. and another one where I have created the user Bob. Now I have the granularity of 3 different sources. That if one is not working, go on to the 2. If second is not working, you can go on to the third one also for the authentication. One thing, if your ISE is working fine, that means internally your SAM database will always work. That point makes sense. But there is a possibility that where you are doing the integration with the other or the external devices, they can get down. So LDAP, Active Directory can get down. For that, it is saying that you can combine multiple identity sources into an identity source sequence. So there is something called as ISS, identity source sequence. In that, I'm going to define that your first priority goes to the Active Directory for the user authentication. In case Active Directory is down, your second priority goes to the LDAP server for the authentication, any of the different LDAP server. If that is also down, I have also created for the granularity the user inside my SAM database. So finally, if these two are down, you can come over here and you can still do the authentication. Your authentication will not fail. But anyhow, authentication should not fail for a authenticated and for a proper user who is coming to the company. That is called as identity source sequence, where you actually gonna, the word I would say as club, where you actually gonna club different identity store, either internal or either external. You're gonna club them together and you're gonna set based on priority. That first user authentication should work on AD. If it fails, go to this. If it fails, go to SAM database. Cisco ISE overview. Okay. There are so many things. It's a centralized security solution that automates the context-aware access to the network resources and share the contextual data. Now, the device can be physical or you can deploy it as a VM also. You can deploy. ISE is basically an image. Okay. ISE is never an appliance. For a hardware box, for the physical box, ISE is never a predefined appliance. Like ASA firewall is a dedicated appliance. FTD is a dedicated appliance. ISE is not an appliance or a hardware box. ISE is nothing but it's a ISO based file. It's an operating system, you can say, which can get deployed
in both physical and virtual. Sorry.
ISE is available both physical and the virtual. But the thing is, ISE image is ISO based image, or it can be an OVF based image. Okay. ISO, you know, like if I say, see, Windows 10, Windows 11, is it your hardware or software?
Software.
Right. So when you're gonna order Windows 10, it will never come directly as a box with you. Okay. You're gonna order a PC that you can order in which your Windows 11 or 10 as an operating system, as a software will be installed at the bare metal. Similarly, your ISE is an appliance, which is an image that can be applied or that can be installed onto the bare metal, onto a UCS chassis, onto a UCS server, M220, M220, M4 or anything else. Whatever the server you have. On top of that, you can deploy your ISE. So accordingly, in that way, your ISE becomes as an appliance. ISE never comes as a hardware box. Like your firewall is a dedicated hardware box which comes. But ISE is being deployed on a UCS server only. It is deployed on a C-series server. Okay. Now, there are various things which your ISE provide, apart from doing the authentication and the authorization. It provides the access policy. By saying that, you can provide RBAC, role-based access control to the users. Now, what is the meaning of RBAC? Role-based access control. It is just like, just a second. There are so many departments which you have it inside a production-based company. You can have your sales department, which is living, let's suppose that if I remove it from here and I come over here, you have so many departments. So there's your office. Inside that office, we have different floor. We have the ground floor. Let's suppose this is for your parking. Then you have the first floor. On the first floor, you have your sales department. Then we have the second floor. On the second floor, all your engineering department is there. And on the third floor, let's suppose there is the management as well as the HR department, which is being playing around. For all the floors, you have deployed one ISE, one identity service engine you have deployed somewhere in the data center. And now what do you want? You can actually set inside the ISE GUI, you can actually set it along with the different floors. You can say that this particular unit of sales belong to the first floor. So for the first floor, you can provide certain access. If you are providing a normal access, that will work for all. So in that case, you have a feature which is being given inside ISE called as RBAC, role-based access control. That means sales should never be able to reach out to the network or to the servers which are running for the engineering department. Engineering should not be able to ever access the server which are being running for the HR or the management department. So you can provide different role-based access control to them. That for the role of sales, you have these kind of permissions. That permissions we define in terms of your access list. Simple. These are your permissions. For your engineering department, these are your permissions that you'll be able to access the internet. You'll not be able to access the Facebook or something like that. You can give it.
So if I have ISE, sorry, if I have ISE can run the RBAC, that means if I have ISE connected to ASA, so ISE will be automatically replicate ACLs on ASA. I mean firewall.
Yes.
In general.
Yes. That feature is called as your DACL.
Oh.
Downloadable access list. Okay. Like till now, what we were doing when we were performing anything, we were performing the access list directly over to the firewall, right? We can also see that now I'm giving all the access to the ISE. ISE will be the one who gonna push the DACL. ISE will be the one who gonna give all the permissions. Apart from the authentication, ISE will also take care of. That's the reason we say it as AAA. Here comes your authorization. Access list means authorization, right? That what are the permissions which you are giving to a certain identity or an endpoint. That these are the server which will be able to access behind the scenes. That feature is called as DACL, downloadable access list, which you can write it down. It is just like a simple access list which you generally write inside ISE, and through ISE, it will be deploying it to the end user. Okay. Now, coming back. So, earlier there was a certain traditional access policy, a simple one. But now Cisco ISE has a very good feature called as Cisco TrustSec. TrustSec. Now, what is the word TrustSec means? Basic meaning, very basic. We have a dedicated lecture on TrustSec where we'll see the lab and with respect to the topic as well. But the basic meaning of TrustSec is segmentation. Now, understand what we have taken down in last 5 minutes over here, if you see, is nothing but just this is nothing but your segmentation only. We are dividing the user or into different chunks and providing them the role-based access control. For the sales user or the sales department, this is the chunk I'm providing. So we are doing the segmentation overall, right? So TrustSec actually is being created. Cisco TrustSec is a topic which is being created, or a technology which is being introduced to provide the role-based access control, in short. And how it
Sorry,
got...
say that again.
Yeah, tell me.
To provide what again?
To provide the role-based access control. Cisco TrustSec is being designed to provide role-based access control for the users.
To provide the RBAC.
RBAC. You can say RBAC. Okay.
Okay.
TrustSec does the segmentation. The basic meaning of segmentation is only that I'm dividing different users into different chunks and I'm allocating their roles and the permissions according to in which department they are lying. How do you want to do that? So let's suppose, very basic, simple example. When you go inside your company, so you belongs to a department of network engineers, right? Over there, you get an ID card. Correct? Your ID card on that. Now understand in a very different manner, understand that we are in a sci-fi movie or something where the ID card has a barcode scanner. Okay. That particular code scanner are only being authorized or will only be authenticated to the engineering department. Now, whenever you will take that ID card to any of the biometric machine which is given under sales, logically, your authentication should not work, right?
Yes.
Similarly, for HR, your authentication will not work. You'll not be able to enter into the gate of the biometric. That biometric also can be integrated with the ISE. Okay. So he will pull all the users from the database, that for what I have to provide the authentication, for whom I don't have to provide any kind of authentication behind the doors, behind the bars. So now, in this, there is a particular barcode. That barcode only specifies. When you go on to the airport, you have your passport ID. Along with that, you have the barcode. That barcode actually contains the information where you the barcode is being tagged. When you go and you take your luggage, you put your luggage over where one is your cabin bag, which you take inside with you. Another one, which you keep under the aeroplane, right? Under the plane, where it goes. They mark a tag for that, right? Now, in that tag, all other information is useless, basically, whatever the name and the flight. Main is what is the flight number. And apart from that, there is a barcode which is being pasted on that, I can say, a slit or a chip. And that will be tagged along with your luggage bag. So this is your luggage bag. This is your handle for the luggage bag. And over here, they will tie it up. And they'll send it under the plane. So that actually dignifies what they have did. They have inserted a tag for you, right? This tag will dignify that this luggage belongs to Rias. Simple. Same thing inside ISE. This tag or the barcode scanner, I've just taken an example for this. This is known as SGT. In Cisco TrustSec, you have something called as SGT. Full form, Security Group Tag. Security Group Tag. More simpler example. You, in your mobile phone, you have so many users out there. Now, all the users to whom you are calling, your parents or any other person, your friends and families, you are not every time, you cannot remember all the numbers. So what you do, you save it with their name. You are tagging a name with them. And also after that, you can actually create a group. You can actually create a group. Like in the WhatsApp, I have created a group where you, me, and Nitiz sir are there. No other person can have that access to that particular group. He'll not be able to authenticate in that group. So I have tagged that. I have named that particular tag as CCI Security 27th March, something like that. Same thing happening over here. We create a security group tag and we generate a tag value. That value can be any number. Like suppose I'm tagging a value called as 45. And that 45, I'm tagging it to any of the community or the department inside. Let's suppose for the quality analysis team inside the company, I'm assigning this tag. Now all the user who are coming for the authentication, they will be tagged with this SGT, security group tag. This is also a part of Cisco TrustSec only. This is how it generates. Having the security group tag, it dignifies that it is providing a role-based access control to the user.
So also SGT considered as access policy?
No, it is not the access policy, but the tag is being binded along with the authentication of the user. That user belongs to this particular tag. And inside the tag, yes, absolutely correct. You are going correct. Inside the tag, when you are creating, so let's suppose, for example, I have created two tags. One with respect to the quality analysis team. So there is a let's suppose a QA PC is there. This QA PC wants to reach out to the intranet server. There is an intranet server reachable at 192.168.1.1. Okay. Now, the quality analysis PC will get authenticated via the ISE. Everything will happen in the backend. It will be assigned with a tag value. Let's suppose I'm assigning a tag 45. So I have done the binding of that SGT tag with the identity of the QAPC. Similarly, I'll bind a tag, let's suppose, for example, 145. And I'll bind this tag with the intranet server, which is 192.168.1.1. And now, using these both tags, I'll create an access policy, saying that whenever the traffic is initiated from tag value 45 and whenever the traffic is going for tag value 145, these are the permissions and the accesses which you need to provide it. You can define the access policy over there as well. Okay. This is your question, right?
Yes.
Correct. Now, in this, the tag which you are binding, this binding can be dynamic, that I'll show you later, and this binding can be static as well. Static, that is called as your static SGT mapping the security group tag along with the server. Now, so apart from in the Cisco TrustSec, then you have guest access. Guest access is nothing but any of the guest who is coming to access your network inside the company. Best example, whenever we go to the airport. On the airport, what happened on the airport? If I talk about the guest access, for the airport authority, you, me, and everyone else, we all are the guest. We go to the airport authority, go to the airport basically. After that, we take out our mobile phones or either the laptop, and there is a Wi-Fi which is being present, an access point or a Wi-Fi which is being present at the airport to which you can connect. When you connect to that particular airport Wi-Fi, you will not get the whole access of the airport authority, right? You cannot access the internal things or the internal servers of that airport. They have provided you with a feature that, okay, you can come. Now, when you come and you open up your Wi-Fi, you're going to open up your Wi-Fi, you're going to see that there is a SSID which has been coming as, let's suppose, airport BLR stand for Bangalore. Airport Bangalore Wi-Fi is coming. You're going to click on that particular SSID. What will happen? It will get automatically, it will get connected. There is no password for that. If you have seen, there is no password when you want to connect to that SSID. What will happen once you get connected? Automatically in your browser, a redirection will happen. Or if it is not happening, the second option is that after getting connected, if you are clicking on google.com, a redirection will happen, and that will take you to a portal page of your airport authority. It will take you to a portal page. Similarly, that happens on railway stations as well. Then there will be a field where you're gonna enter your phone number. When you're gonna enter your phone number, you will receive a one-time password onto your phone. You will give that particular OTP code, and then a certain access will be provided to you by the airport, that you are able to access the internet, but you are blocked in order to access all the internal servers which are there at the airport. So you will get certain access. That portal which you are redirected to is called as your guest portal. This guest portal, complete portal you can create inside ISE. You can customize that particular portal as well. If you want, you can add your own banner to that particular portal, not like airport, or you want your own company banner, you can provide it. Along with that, you can provide it the logo. Whenever we do any kind of license, or we download or use any kind of license, or when we install any new software, what do you see? That there is a total, you have heard about EULA, license agreement. Okay, there's a complete page which comes with so much language, and at that last, you have to accept that, right? Then only you go next. In every software it comes. This EULA also you can create along with the content inside it, inside the guest portal access, which inside your ISE, in the feature of your guest portal.
That the user can choose his language, his local language, to sign in. I mean, to input his credentials.
Yes, you can do that. Okay, everything can be done in that. Different languages, if you want to import, you want that, you in some software, I hope you have seen that whenever you read out the license, no one reads the license agreement, of course, but in some cases, in some software, what happens, you have to scroll down your license completely.
Yes.
Then only your next page pop-up will occur. Otherwise, this will be grayed out. Till the time you don't come to the last, you don't scroll the page till the last, it will be grayed out. Once you scroll,
like checkbox or something.
Yes, then only you will get the next checkbox and you can appear it. And when your checkbox will appear at the last, same thing you can customize inside the ISE also. That in order to read the EULA, I want the user to completely scroll down till the last, then only your next page will come. What should be the OTP? How the user authentication work inside that? Because there is no user authentication which you can do, right? For if in a company you have a limited number of users, right? Whenever a new employee is registering or new employees enrolling into the company or getting onboarded, you have all the details. That management will provide you all the details, that kindly you can feed this detail into your AAA server. So the next time when the user is coming, actually you can provide the authentication via the ISE. Correct. But over the airport, this is not the same case, because minimum there are millions and thousands of users which are coming each day at the airport. So you can't have the username and the password of the every user over there to have the access. For that, your guest portal is created in some way where you will provide only certain limited access to the internet or other things, but you will block the access for the internal or intranet servers. So this is a completely dedicated topic that we have a lab also for the guest portal access where we're gonna create. Now, in this, remember, in the guest access, tell me simple answer that what is the how I can ask it, how maximum users get connected. There are three technologies: wired, wireless, and we have the VPNs. How maximum users, 99% user get connected to the airport authority out of three?
VPN.
No, for the guest access. If you
Guest access
now
will be wireless.
we go for the wireless, right? There will be a Wi-Fi SSID. We wanna connect that, and we'll be redirecting to the portal where we're gonna log in. Once authenticated, we can access the internet. We're not gonna take our RJ45 cables and we're gonna insert somewhere that will get the access. Neither will do it via the VPN, because VPN is being used inside your companies. Or if the employees who are already registered, if they are coming via the VPN, then it's fine accessing the internal servers. Okay. For the guest user, VPN is not there. Wireless, basically it comes with the wireless. Then, along with the guest access, you have one more feature which is being added. This is a different feature, but called as posturing. Posturing is completely different, but we use the guest access for that. Even in the company, in today's world, very few users are getting connected to the network via the Ethernet cable, right? In 2023, I have not seen that you are connecting via the Ethernet. Because in today's date, everyone have what? The offices has become created the feature of BYOD. Bring your own device. So we have the feature of BYOD. Okay. Even this BYOD feature is there in Cisco Labs also, where you can actually bring your.
So I can bring my own devices to the exam.
Device means keyboard or something for access. You're not gonna bring your own server that I'll do the lab over there. Okay. But you can get your own mouse, you can get your own keyboard. So BYOD feature is there. Similarly, we have the wireless mouse, we have the wireless keyboards, we have the wireless, all the laptops, MacBook to never come.
I'm allowed to carry my keyboard with me?
Yeah, you can, you are allowed to access the keyboard, but those are different labs. Okay, in normal lab, which you inside these certain locations, like your Richardson or Brussels or Sydney, you will not get the BYOD feature. Okay, BYOD comes in your mobile labs. Somewhere in some certain labs, you will get the privilege to bring your own device. Okay, but no one prefers those particular labs. The success rate is barely minimum 30%, not more than that. Okay, now, so even in your ISE, you have the bring your own device. So every person in today's date have their own laptop. Even the companies are not giving desktop anymore. Companies always give the laptop. So you provide, you come with your company laptop, you get that. For the sales team, you come with your company phone, which company has provided to you in order to do all the calls. Those mobile phone, no one uses the landlines today in today's date. Wired is completely gone. Until version 5, we had something called as Cisco IP phones. But now in the production, the IP phone are being totally removed from the market. Totally gone. Okay, I had in my old office, I had 2 cartons, big cartons I had. Those all 2 big cartons were full of IP phones. Full of IP phones. This particular technology in maximum companies which are upgrading themselves continuously is so much deprecated that if I sell the IP phone, I'll not even get $1. I'll not even get $1 or cent, even in cents also I'll not get it for any of the IP phone. And I have a bunch of IP phone in 2 cartons, completely filled up, just like different old state landlines. But your IP phones also can get integrate, or I would say authenticate via your ISE. Because we inside ISE does the authentication in three different ways. ISE does the authentication for the user who is coming wired. ISE does the authentication with the user who are coming wireless, and ISE does the authentication which are user coming via the VPN. In all three cases, ISE can do the authentication and the authorization. Now, in this, PYOD, get it? This is clear. What is the meaning of posturing? Simple word with a very basic example. Whenever we visit a doctor, or you might have visited at the as well, doctor says that.
Oh,
That's why I stopped myself. You recently visited the doctor. I know that. Yeah, how is your tumor, by the way?
it's not good. Need to do a surgery.
Still waiting for that studies to finish up.
Yeah.
Okay. So whenever in the posturing, basic example, whenever we visit a doctor, if we have a let's suppose pain in our back or something, or we have a pain in our hand, what doctors suggest normally, keep your posture still, or you should have a very correct posture. Whenever you are doing the exercise in a yoga exercise or you are doing the gym, you should have a very good posture. Correct posture is required to do the correct exercise. Otherwise, you will get a jerk. Otherwise, you will get a clamp over anywhere. When you want to sit, you should have a correct posture. When you want to lay down on your bed, you should have a correct posture. Otherwise, your back, your L2, L3, L7, your disc, it will get fail or it will basically pain it out. Similarly, in the world of ISE also, in the world of networking or the AAA server, posturing means, see, what I mean by this story is that in order to do any kind of work, there are some prerequisites which needs to be followed, right? When you go to the gym or you are doing yoga, doctor says that you should have a correct posture. So that posture is a prerequisite. That if you are bending in a wrong way, you will get a clamp or you will get a jerk. So you should bend in a correct way. That is your prerequisite in order to get a successful work done, in order to get a successful yoga done. Similarly, in the world of ISE, you have posturing, which is nothing but certain prerequisites which needs to be filled out before getting authenticated to the network. Now, what kind of prerequisite? So let's suppose that you have a Windows 10 laptop and you get the laptop into your office environment. Inside your office environment, you get it. And now there is a posturing which is being applied by the network engineers. Now, what will happen? Okay. Now, whenever you are trying to get connected via the VPN or via the wireless inside your office environment, automatically, there will be a installation of any kind of application. There will be an installation of an application inside your own Windows 10 laptop. That company will do it. Company has structured, company has deployed and configured that ISE in such a way that as soon as you are getting connected to the network, an application, client-based application will be installed into your machine. That client-based application is nothing but your AnyConnect. Remember when we studied the AnyConnect, I told you AnyConnect is not just a tool for the VPN. It's a complete suite which comes with major concerns. There are like compliance tool, posturing tools for your advanced malware protection, for your network access control. AnyConnect also comes with a tool with respect to the compliance. So there are many features which AnyConnect inbuilt has. It's a complete suite. In that, one is a VPN based tool which we guys are downloading and installing, which they have given the name as AnyConnect tool. But in short, AnyConnect is a complete suite. So automatically, if you are using the Cisco ISE, and AnyConnect suite will get installed as an application inside your Windows 10. So my Windows 10 is nothing but this is the client who is trying to join the company environment. And when you get connected, this tool will get deployed. Now this tool, what it will check? There are certain policies which the ISE network administrator gonna define in that appliance, in the posturing services. Let's suppose I deployed that user firewall should be on. User Windows Defender definition should be completely updated. User minimum should have any kind of antivirus. It can be an McAfee. It can be a Sophos. It can be a Norton antivirus, or it can be a Kaspersky. And that particular antivirus, all the definitions should be updated. Or I can say that inside a C drive, inside the users, inside admin directory, there should be a file.txt. If the file is present, then only do the authentication. If the antivirus is turned on, then only do the authentication. If the firewall is on and the virus definition are updated. Similarly, I can say that in Windows 10, whenever the updates come, there are two types of update. One is called as feature update, if you have seen inside your settings. And another ones come called as cumulative update. Cumulative updates are nothing but these are the small updates what we have. Like every month there are so many security glitches which comes into operating system. For that we get security updates. Cumulative update, like if the feature is working fine, but there is some glitch in one of the features. So with the cumulative update, they actually fix those particular features. Cumulative update, every time you will get it within a month or two, you will keep on getting it in your Windows. Feature update means that there is a major update which is being done as per the features. Certain new feature have been added in the operating system of Windows, and that you have to download and install in order to work further. So we can provide a posturing prerequisite saying that it has to be over the latest update. If Windows 10, whenever we update the cumulative update, you might have seen the code. It starts with always KB. KB, then there is a random number. So this is the whole number of the update. So we can define that it should be on the latest update. Then only you will get the whole authentication, otherwise not. This is called as your posturing. In the posturing, you can define one requisite. You can define two, and you can define more than two, any number of prerequisites. And you can define a condition also. Like you can define a condition that I'm defining two conditions. One is firewall or antivirus. Any antivirus, third party, McAfee, Sophos, or Norton, or Avast, or something. I can say that either your firewall should be on, either your antivirus should be latest updated. Then you will get the authentication. In the condition set, I'm saying, if I remove the or and I write AND operator over here, okay, in the AND operator, that means both the condition has to be satisfied. Firewall also has to be turned on. Antivirus also has to be updated. Then only provide the authentication. If in this case, any one of the prerequisite got failed, you will not get the authentication. This is the meaning of or and AND. AND means both the condition has to be satisfied, or means either of the one condition if get satisfied, you will get the access. This what happens under your posturing. Along with posturing, there is one more term which is being used, one more topic is there, that is called as your profiling. Okay. Now,
under posturing?
Not under posturing. There are two things. One is posturing, one is profiling. Okay, these are different. Okay, so all what I have told till now, like TrustSec, role-based access control, SGD tags, these are all topics. Posturing topic, BYOD topic, guest access portal topic, profiling as well as a topic. Now, in the posturing, we're gonna check that what are the prerequisites which you have. We're gonna fulfill that. So what if you see the agenda, what posturing is providing? It is providing basically the endpoint security, right? It should be fulfilled. because you don't know that the user, if you are a network administrator and maintaining the ISE, it's your job that whosoever the user is coming to the company, he should be accepting or not accepting, he should be fulfilling all the posturing requisite in order to connect it. Because you don't know that the laptop, or if you have enabled a BYOD feature, the devices which he is bringing inside the company, it can be a malware based device. The device can have viruses inside it. The devices can have any backdoors or any malwares inside it. There is a possibility. No user is completely secured. So from your end, you are maintaining the endpoint security that at least because of him, your company network will not get compromised after giving out the posturing services. So posturing is very important for the client security as well as your infra security inside the company. Profiling. Now, what is the profiling? Profiling basically means that whenever, if let's suppose this is my own laptop, which I tried to authenticate along the AAA server, which is my ISE. So my ISE will keep a record of all the details of this particular laptop. This is being done inside your profiling. Details, I'm not with respect to the username or password. That will come under your authentication. Details like what is the uh, serial number of this particular device. Apart from that, what operating system it is containing. It is containing Windows 10. Then in Windows 10, which particular version right now it is containing the subversion of the Windows 10. Is it 2021 H2 or is it 2022 H2? These are the different versions which you have even in Windows 10. So profiling will basically get the records of your operating system. If I'm bringing an iPhone, which iPhone model it is, in which particular, which iPhone model it is, what is the operating system, which iOS version is running inside that, all the things, all the keeping the records of all those particular things comes under your profiling. If you are maintaining properly the profiling, you'll be in a very good habit to do the posturing, because you know that the clients who are coming to your company, who has which version of Windows, who has which specific version of Windows, who is carrying which version of iOS or the iPad or something. And then based on that, and based on the data which you have collected from profiling, you can actually define your posturing services. That, okay, now this Windows 10, I'll create a prerequisite. It should be updated on a latest update over 2022 or 2023. Then only I'll allow the user to get authenticate, because the last version have the bugs. So relatively, that's how profiling and posturing works. But basically, these both are different topics. Clear, sir, till now?
Clear.
Okay. Then we have we have threat containment as well. We have the threat containment, ISE Grid controller. Now, what is this ISE Grid controller? If you are able to see over here, it is this ISE Grid. Now, Grid is a service. It's a service inside the ISE. Grid is not being enabled automatically. It's a manual process to enable the Grid services. Now, what this Grid is used for? You have so many third-party devices. It's not in the network. It's not like in a company. The company is using all the product of Cisco. It's not mandatory, right? If you have a good product of Cisco ISE that you know, so you are using it. And if firewall is good for Fortinet, then you are using the Fortinet devices for that. It is a possibility. If the email security, for the email security, if you know that FortiMail is a very good product, so you are using that. But for the authentication, for the authenticator, you are using a ISE which belongs to Cisco. So in order to integrate these third-party devices And even within the Cisco also, if you want the ISE to get integrated with the DNA center, so over there the integration normally doesn't work because you are doing third-party integration. For that, you need a PixGrid services. So PixGrid, it's a service license-based. You need to buy the PixGrid license. Then only you can do the integration with the third-party devices inside your company or the firewalls for the management or other purposes. Okay, so that is your PixGrid. Then identity profiling and the posture. This I have told you. Who is the supplicant? What are the apps he is having inside his machine? When, where, basically the location, how he gonna get enter, if the user is compliant or not. So in the posturing, normally when we define, we have three different stages. We have the stage of unknown, we have the stage of non-compliant, and then finally we have the stage of compliant. There are three different stages. Detail of the stages will let you know about whenever we have the posturing. So that's how it is being written as compliant. So access policy done. Then network resources, you have it. You can bring your mobile phone. You can have the different networking devices which you can bring. Okay. Now, there are certain terminologies of the ISE, like what is a node? An individual physical or a virtual Cisco ISE appliance is being called as a node. Any physical appliance or a virtual Cisco ISE appliance, you can term it as node. Node type, the Cisco ISE node can assume any of the following personas, like administration, policy service, and the monitoring. Personas, right now, understand this word in a way that these are the different flavors which are present in ISE: administration node, policy server node, monitoring node. So it is like I have a whole box of ISE. I have divided this box of ISE internally. Yeah, this is not it is much as logical process. I have divided one box of ISE into three different segments. One is your administration node, policy administration node, PAN. One is policy service node, PSN, and one is MNT monitoring node. Okay. Monitoring
So there are
node.
different ISE.
Sorry?
Three of them are different ISE, or ISE has three different services?
ISE in itself,
I mean, the PAN, the PSN, and the MNT.
ISE in itself has all the three flavors. Okay. But so this particular flavor, in which in one single ISE box, you have the PAN, you have the policy service, and you have the MNT. This is called as your standalone node, which has everything inside. Okay. But physically or in a virtual manner also inside Eve or something, or physically also, you can actually deploy a secondary ISE just as individual as a PAN node. You can define an ISE individually as a PSN node, and you can define an ISE individually as a MNT who only gonna do the monitoring. So MNT is a logical node in ISE which gonna maintain and do the monitoring of the devices. Okay. Administration or lookup will be done by the PAN node. And regarding all the services which you have under your ISE, like profiling, posturing, authenticating, external users, these are being defined under your policy service node, where you're gonna define and take different policies. So you have all the three flavors inside one ISE, but you can deploy a ISE in a company as an individual flavor also. That I take that this particular ISE should only do the monitoring of the services, nothing else. I'm only allocating.
So one ISE can have the PAN, the PSN, and the MNT as let's say, for example, feature enabled in one ISE. I also can install those are individually, like one ISE can be only for PAN, one ISE for PSN, and one ISE for MNT. Is this right?
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Okay. By
So if it
default,
is one different ISE, I mean different ISE with different service like PAN and PSN and MNT, also still standalone, or is gonna be considered as a group?
no. Then you will actually, when you want to deploy the ICE onto that particular UCS chassis, you will make sure and you will actually tell it that you will declare that particular node as a policy service node or a PSN or a MNT node. You will declare, and that particular mode, it will not a standalone.
Must be together with another node.
Yes.
And that is group of nodes will be
That
a
is
persona.
basically whenever you want to deploy in a kind of distributed environment. Understand? Whenever you want to deploy in a distributed environment on basis of different roles and services, you have the node, you want your ICE to only do the monitoring of the services, not other thing. You're not going to provide any authentication. You don't want to provide any kind of administration nodes, but you only want your ICE to do the monitoring of the whole environment. So you can declare or you can create it as a MNT node. So these are the different flavors which you have it. Okay.
So I have three different flavors. Those are only the PAN, the PSN, and MNT, and those three together called a persona. Is this right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Together, it is all called as the persona. The persona determines the services provided by the node. A Cisco ISE node can assume any or all of the following persona. The same thing which is being written over here. The menu options that are available through the administrative user depends on the roles and the personas that a node assume. All the menu options which you're going to see inside your ISE or that are available through the administrative user or the administrator depends upon the roles and the different personas that a node can assume, either a PSN, either a PAN, either an MNT.
But one ISE PSN or one ISE PAN or one ISE MNT cannot be called a persona. Persona must be consist of more than one ISE node. Yes.
The persona is just a name which is being given to every kind of node. That this is a policy service node. This is a PSN policy service, PAN administration. So persona is just understand persona as a flavor, that these are the three flavors you have. Okay, persona, personality. Three personalities you have in the ISE. One personality is PAN, another one is PSN, another one is MNT. Now you can use one ISE taking all the three personalities in itself, and you can deploy ISE as having an individual different personality as well.
Okay.
Okay. Now, so let's suppose that, but one thing is that whenever you deploy ISE, it is mandatory that at least one node. Now what I'll use the term node over here. So node is what? It's a physical or a virtual Cisco ISE appliance, right? Any individual ISE appliance, you will term it as node. So what I'm saying, at least one node in your distributed setup or the environment should be taken as an administrative node. A best practice
must be administrative.
That you should have one node as a mandatory as an administration node. What your policy service node do? So basically, it gonna provide all the network access. It gonna provide the posturing services. Policy service. Service means so many services we have inside the ISE. Basically, what kind of services? Like your network access, like your posture, like your profiling, like your guest access, your client provisioning. These are called the services. So this particular persona or the personality, the PSN, evaluate all the policy and make all the decisions. Okay. You can install one or more than one PSN unit also. If you have multiple multiple servers, you can deploy more than 2 to 3 servers as identical PSN unit. Because see, now you might have understood that PSN is the main unit. Administration unit is the one who is using for the administrative privileges and the work. But PSN unit is the one who gonna provide the services. So you can deploy multiple PSN unit. There is a range that I'll tell you later in the picture, but there is a PSN does everything. That means whenever you have a more crowd of the client machines or the user, who will be the one who gonna take the maximum input as a CPU resources? Compute. Who will handle the maximum compute resources? That will be your PSN unit, right? Because it is the one who is providing all the services. If a user is getting access, this is because of the PSN unit. If the user, you are deploying a profiling or a posturing, and all the user are accessing that posturing, your CPU resources, compute resources will get high. So if you are defining that PSN unit onto an identical high configuration box, it will be much good, right? As compared to deploying the ISE as a standalone node where it is handling. Standalone node generally we take in small environment where the traffic flow and the use of the authentication server is very less. But it is better in a distributed environment where you have different floors in the office, where the different users are daily basis coming, the guest access is being used highly. So over there, you have a deployment that you can install multiple PSN unit. Like, for example, simple hierarchy, if I can create. Just, where is my pen? Yeah. Simple hierarchy you can create that. If just an example, just a tree that I have eyes. So one particular chassis I have created as a PAN unit. Okay. This PAN unit gonna do the administration. Okay. To manage everything. Simple. Who is the administrator who manage everything? To manage. But the main work is being done by the PSN unit. So you can create now different, if you have 5 servers, you can create different PSN unit. Identically, you can install the ISE as a PSN unit on that, as a PSN node. So I have 4 boxes, I have deployed 4 PSN unit. And I'll say that all the 4 PSN unit can be managed by one PAN administration node. This is what is called as a distributed environment. So now if you have a big company where you have more than 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 employees in a big company, your all user authentication, authorization, network access, posturing, profiling will be served or will be handled by these PSN unit. And on these unit, you have what? You have written or taken down the compute resources. So they'll be able to handle it because now you have segregated the PSN unit. And all the unit can be managed from one single box with your policy administration node. That's how I told that you can deploy one ISE box having all the 3 flavors inside, and you can deploy multiple ISE boxes having identical flavors in the company. Okay. Clear, sir? How the nodes?
Yeah. So PSN means a primary
PSN
service
means
node.
Policy service node.
Policy. Okay.
Policy service node.
Okay.
Okay. So total, there are how many nodes now you have?
I have 3 nodes.
PSN and MNT.
Yes.
One more is there, but we generally don't include that inside this box. That is called as your PixGrid also. PixGrid is also
this is a service.
PixGrid also is service, right? PixGrid is being used for what? Different kinds of integration. PixGrid node. Logically, there are 4 types. But normally we take and we divide as PAN, PSN, and MNT. But if you're going to read the books or you're going to read the blogs, you'll find that PixGrid is also a unit. It is also a node. It is sometimes being termed as PixGrid node. What is PixGrid used for? In order to do the third-party integrations. Okay. So you can use the Cisco PixGrid. The PixGrid belongs to Cisco, obviously, to share your sessions or share your identity service engine with the other network system. And now you can use it within your Cisco ecosystem also. You can use it with the other third-party ecosystems as well, third-party company products as well, in order to exchange of the policies, the configuration, the tags, whatever it is. Okay. You can use the ISE on behalf of your EPS services, your API services as well. You can handle it with the API as well. So these are your nodes, PAN, PSN, and MNT.
Those are the main nodes, but PixGrid can be a service integrated in ISE. I mean, in the
because
in the
what I
PAN.
told, you only deploy the node as a PAN, you only deploy the node as a PSN, you only deploy the node as a MNT, and you only enable the PixGrid services over there manually. So you can deploy an identical node as a PixGrid also. That this particular node, I'm deploying it as a PixGrid node who will have or who will handle all the different third-party integrations. That is just that you are dividing all of your work into different servers, and on all servers you have installed or deployed different personas or the personalities of the ISE. Okay. What we use inside our lab, so basically we deploy the ISE as a standalone node that contains all of that, because our traffic consumption and the practice we have to do it. But in the production, it is ISE is always being deployed as a distributed environment. Clear?
Clear.
Okay. So with that, for now, we'll end for the day, sir. We'll meet again tomorrow. We'll take the things further ahead with the ISE and the DMVPN as well. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So with that, we'll end for the day.
I have a quick question. Is this is regarding my lab? Is it necessary to have vCenter installed on the ESXi host?
No.
No need.
No need. vCenter I have deployed because I have migration from one server to another. You don't have to do it, right?
I couldn't find regarding my lab in your Apple Music.
Sorry.
You don't have to do it because I have a migration. I have different pods. Okay, so a simple thing is that which I have already done a mistake and I'll not do it again, because very later down in the picture I got to know about the what do you say,